Hello, in this short lecture I will give you a couple of reasons that explain why God doesn't exist. The first reason why God doesn't exist is because of the fact that God is perfect, so He would have never created an imperfect world. The second reason why God doesn't exist is that God would have never created the human beings that are capable of doing evil and bad things and sins, because God is perfect, so He would have created creatures that did only good things and not evil and wrong things. Okay, and we can ask also the simple questions. The simple question: why God created the human beings from the beginning? He wanted to put them to the test. So he creates something and then he wants to put it to the test. It doesn't make any sense at all. And we also should know that we also should remember that God knows what will happen in the future. And from that reason, He would have never created the human beings because He knew that the human beings would do bad things, would do sins, would do crimes, and so on. So from that reason, He would have never created the human beings. So from that reason, we can deduce that because of the fact that God is perfect, He would have never created He didn't create actually the human beings. And from that reasons, we can deduce that God doesn't exist. Okay, and the third reason why God doesn't exist is that God would have never created such a world with a lot of violence, a lot of cruelty, a lot of murders, and also with a lot of diseases and wars, and also with a lot of natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, and hurricanes, and so on. And also a lot of human sufferings. So God would have never created such a world. So, and the fourth reason why God doesn't exist is that God would have never created such a world in which the very existence of the predator is dependent in his ability to kill other animals. the lion must kill the deer or the lamb or other animals in order to survive. So God would have never created such reality that there is so cruelty and a lot of injustice in that reality. Okay, and the fifth reason why God doesn't exist is that there are actually three monotheistic religions, and monotheistic is defined as a belief in one God or the oneness of God. And those three monotheistic religions contradict each other in the description of how God created the world. And they also don't have the same God. The God of the Judaism is not the God of the Christianity or the God of the Islam. So because of those contradictions and differences, we can say that all those three religions are not true, they are fake, they are actually the invention of human beings themselves. And God also was created by the human beings, and God doesn't exist at all. It is the invention of the human beings, and all the religions are invention of the human beings, and God doesn't exist at all. Okay, and the sixth and the last reason why God doesn't exist is actually a logic reason. We can say that logically it is impossible that God exists. Okay, from the simple reason that we can ask a simple question, that is, if God is able to create such a big stone that he himself cannot lift, if the answer to this question is positive, then we can say that there is something that God is not able to do. That is to say, God is not able to lift the stone that he himself created. And from that reason, we can deduce that God is not omnipotent. And if the answer to this question is negative, so we can say that God is not able to create such a big stone that he himself cannot lift. And from that reason, we can deduce the same conclusion, that God is not omnipotent. So from that example, we can deduce that God is not omnipotent, or such a being that is omnipotent can never exist. Okay, so that was the sixth reason why God doesn't exist, and those were all the reasons that explain why God doesn't exist at all. Okay, thank you very much.